Welcome. I'm here today for another episode for the Pausecast with my dear friend and venturer, entrepreneur extraordinaire, Julie Trell. Hi, Julie. How are you today?
Hey, Rachel. Thanks for having me. In the future, as we say, because I'm on Sydney, on Gadigalan. It's great to see you.
Yes. You're halfway around the world and excited to have you here from the Australian coast in Sydney directly. I want to share a little bit about how you and I met, and then we'll get into some of your areas of expertise, including improv and play, which I think are critical for success with whatever you're working on right now as a leader. So Julie and I, we were just talking about this. You and I met in 2016-ish, and we joined forces through a women's investment initiative called SheEO, which is now called Corliss, with our dear friend Vicky Saunders, right? And then you were here in the US for some of those meetings, and then I came to Australia a couple of years later for Pausecast, which was 2019, and we spent a weekend in the incredible countryside outside of Sydney. Where were we again?
It was south of Melbourne. There were camels. No, it's not camel. There were llamas.
Melbourne, yeah.
Llamas.
We had camels and llamas, and there were
kangaroos.
Incredible mountains and sand. Yeah, of course, the kangaroos with the joeys, they were so cute. And so we've remained friends, and we were fast friends since then, because I think you and I aligned on a lot of things, which I think we're going to get into today. To talk a little bit more about you, though, I know you're also CEO of Playful Purpose. Tell us a little bit about you. Who are you, and what are you up to these days?
So I am Chief Play Officer. Gotta get in my
CPO,
CPO, Chief Play Officer of Playful Purpose. So a little bit about me, who I am. I am a white American, middle-aged, happily single, cisgendered, straight woman learning to decolonize my thinking, and I do that through play and improv. And I have a chocolate party spoodle, and her name is Hershey, which is her name, and her pronouns and mine. And that's who I am. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And I just adore your dog. I love Hershey as well. I didn't think about it as pronouns, but you're right. That is exciting. Yes. And I asked you already if you would be so kind to lead us in a version of a pause for our listeners. Would you be still up for that?
Yes, of course. I'm a huge fan of the Pausecast. I'm a huge fan of pausing, and I know I need to do it more. So this little pause is helpful for practicing improv, for practicing and showing up in the day, and it's going to be focused on noticing and listening. So let's begin by finding a comfortable seated position on a chair on the floor. Hands on your knees or lap. Close your eyes or lower your gaze and turn your attention inward. Take a deep breath in, filling your lungs completely, and then exhale slowly, feeling any tension melt away. As we enter this mindfulness, give yourself permission to let go of the day's concern and be fully present in the moment. Start with a gentle body scan from the top of your head down to your toes. As you focus on each part of your body, notice any sensations you feel, whether it's tension, warmth, coolness, or anything else. Don't judge or try to change the sensations, simply observe them. Now gently shift your focus to the sounds around you. Without straining, allow sounds to come to you, whether they are close by or far away. Notice the quality of each sound. Is it sharp, soft, continuous, intermittent? Observe how the sounds arise and fade away. If your mind starts to create stories about the sounds, gently bring your attention back to the experience of listening itself. Now expand your awareness to include other senses. Notice the smells in the air. Feel the temperature on your skin and the texture of your clothing. Observe the light and shadows that you can see through your closed eyelids. Experience all of this without judgment or expectation. Now come back to the breath. Notice the sensation of the air flowing in and out of your nostrils, the rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. Each breath offers an opportunity to be fully present. If your mind wanders, gently acknowledge and return the focus back to breath. Okay. Take a moment of gratitude for taking this time to observe and reflect. Reflect on the experience of noticing and listening without judgment. Open your eyes and come back to the Pausecast.
Sorry. Thank you, Julie. That was so relaxing. I feel a little bit lighter and more relaxed. Appreciate it.
When I did this with a workshop with a accelerator, the feedback from the participants, one guy noticed the smell of the carpet. And it was really interesting. And when I do this, noticing the sounds far away and close by, this is a really important practice for active listening and noticing and having conversations. So I enjoy doing this one myself.
That's great. And that's such a great connection too, because I think a lot of us, at least I'll speak for myself, and in our busy world, I feel like, why would, if I have a day that I didn't meditate, I was tired or didn't do it, like this morning, I haven't done it yet, except for that. I would tell myself like, oh, well, that's okay. But there's really consequences in that. It does set you up for things like being a better listener and being deeper connected to yourself and others. So your relationships feel and are different. So I just really appreciate those insights.
Yeah.
Really cool.
And I also think about like noticing when you're having a conversation with someone, the tone of their voice, the speed at which they're talking, like noticing the micro little things that happen. For some reason, I always picture myself in a supermarket line behind someone checking out. For some reason, this is the story that I've created, and just watching the person in front of me, noticing what they've purchased, noticing their body, noticing how they're interacting with the checkout late person, just noticing these little things and how
detective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very cool. So I want to hear a little bit about your story. How did you get to be Chief Playful Officer, and why is it so important for you for companies to have something in that realm of someone who's kind of responsible for play?
Yeah. Well, I can start in so many places. I was a classroom teacher in inner city Atlanta. So when you're with younger kids, it's all about play. And unfortunately, sometimes when we grow up, we forget about play, but we're actually still playing using those tools of creativity. I was an arts and crafts counselor, more play and making messes. And I've always played with fun titles. For example, when I was at Salesforce Foundation, I was VP of all things fun, meaningful, and rewarding. Realizing my work was play. My work and my team, we would connect with the community and send employees out to go volunteer in the community. And it was really meaningful, more than just, I got to go and volunteer and I got to serve meals. It was play, it was interaction. And it's a drug. It has become a drug. And it's taken me, I guess, a while to recognize where improv, or what I call the other AI, applied improv, has come in to define what I do. And that came in when I was at Camp Apple in 1998 in Petaluma, where there were all a bunch of these educators and we were learning new technologies. Final Cut Pro had just come out, the iMac bubble had come out, and we were just left to our own devices and said, go make up things, play. And so that was one, like being with other teachers who were very creative, because teachers need to improvise and play all the time. And one of my favorite improvisers, Rebecca Stockley in the Bay Area, from Bay Area Theater Sports, came in and did a game with us talking about making mistakes and celebrating mistakes. And she made this image, like when we make a mistake, our bodies curl up and get smaller, versus celebrating and letting go. It's easier to move forward, the growth mindset. And so she painted this picture of, what if you looked in the teacher's lounge and everyone was in there celebrating mistakes? If you've ever been in a teacher lounge, it's not always the happiest place. But she created this image of celebrating when things aren't going right, to get out of that stuckness, and thinking about that in the boardroom and meetings and corporate. It's always stuck with me, and I've taken it with me and now shaped it into a title of Chief Play Officer. Yeah. So I call applied improv, it's the other AI. It's applying improv, the principles, the techniques. I do not consider myself a stage performer that gets up there like, whose line is it anyway, people, but I get to direct and produce the amazing talent there. However, I've used the techniques and tools of the principles of improv. Like, yes and. So hearing an idea and a concept, accepting it, not always agreeing with it, accepting it and adding to it. My favorite principle is making your teammates look smart and feel good. Because when you do that, you will look smart and feel good. Now imagine if everyone did that, what a wonderful world we would live in. And so if we go back to artificial intelligence, what these chatbots are doing are pretty much what improvisers do. They're tapping into their database, their LLM, their large language model of experience, and I air quote experience, and then they respond to what they know. Improvisers do the same thing when they're given an offer or they're given a suggestion, like, a teacher and a student on the beach. They take all of the experience from their head and their background and they make an offer, they make on the stage to create a scene, and that person next to them will take what they know and add to it. And so I think that, we need to continue to be the critical thinkers, the creativity of what we're hearing, agreeing to it, accepting it, and adding to it. Yeah, let's practice the foundation of improv, which I want to just let everyone know. Everyone is an improviser every single day. This conversation is improvised. I don't have a script. When you get up in the morning, when you're ordering your coffee, so everyone can consider themselves an improviser. It's not necessarily about being funny. It's about moving the conversation, moving the scene along. So let's play a little bit yes and. And this is we'll start with yes, but, and see what happened. So let's plan something. What do you want to plan? Let's plan something.
Am I going to do the but now?
No. Sorry. I'm setting it all up. We can plan
I don't want.
Okay. So I'm going to make an offer. We'll suggest something, and your answer is going to be yes, but to everything I have to say.
Let's do that.
Okay. Rachel, let's plan a picnic at Fisherman's Wharf.
Yes, but I have 5 meetings on my calendar this afternoon. There's no way I can do that.
Yeah, but if you just remove one, we could do this.
Yeah, but I think they're all really important. I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, but you're the one who always talks about pausing. This will be so good for your soul and your mind and your body.
Yeah, but it's not really what I'm feeling today.
Oh, yeah, but if you go, you will feel it. We can see the seals. We can go shopping. We can have some, I'm trying to remember what, the bread bowl, some chowder.
Yeah, but I don't really like those things. I don't want to eat any chowder today.
And scene. That was hard. We weren't getting anywhere.
It's so energetically draining, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
So much mental time.
So much mental time. Yeah. It is draining. I don't feel heard. I'm getting frustrated, really taking all my energy trying to convince you to go on this picnic. Now, we're going to go on a picnic again. We're going to try this picnic plan again. And you're going to answer with a yes and. You're going to hear what I say and add to what I have to say. All right, Rachel, let's do a picnic at Fisherman's Wharf.
Yes. And Julie, I've been excited to go outside. It's so beautiful out right now.
Yes. And the outsideness and the vitamin D is exactly what we need, and to be around people.
Yeah. And can I invite my friend to join us?
Of course. And we can bring lots of champagne. We can bring orange juice. We can bring fancy water as well.
Yeah. And can we have some cheese and crackers too?
Of course we can. Yes. And let's make statements. Yes. And along with the cheese and crackers, we can bring games, because you know how I love to play games.
Yes. And I have 3 games I know I can bring that will be easy to carry.
Yes, that's so smart to bring games that you can carry. And, maybe I'll bring some comfortable chairs so we can sit and watch the people go by.
Yes. And I know a great, spectacular viewpoint. We can put the chairs on and sit down and see the entire area of the landscape and the water and the birds while we eat and drink our wonderful menu.
All right. And scene. So much more sunnier. We have a group of people going on it. We've planned this picnic. It feels good. It's flowing. It's moving. And one thing that I did in there was I accepted your offer of games. Let's bring some games that you could carry. The games that you can carry. And I I not only yes anded, I accepted what I liked about that. Yes, I like that you can bring games that you can carry, because that will be a great idea. So I was being really specific in what I liked about what you offered. And this is something to think about in giving feedback and being specific in what you like, because you're not always going to agree. It's not necessarily agreeing with what the person offers. It's accepting so they feel heard. There's a great line: being heard is indistinguishable of being loved. And so, we can bring in feeling heard, and I'll find that quote for you. Feeling heard and being loved at the same time. So when you're having these kind of conversations and you're yes-anding, even if you don't agree, finding 10% of what you like about what has been offered really makes a person feeling heard. So that's another way that we play the game. What I like about that, it absolutely helps you be a more empathetic listener. It helps you move the scene, the conversation forward. People are going to be more comfortable and feeling more brave in meetings to contribute, to offer. Because once you're in a meeting where there's a lot of, yeah, but everyone's going to feel shut down, they're not going to continue to make offers. So if it's a safe space to make an offer, to add your thoughts, to share your ideas, the more of that out's on the table, that's a safe place, the more comfortable conversations you can have, even if there's disagreement. So it will help with having professional disagreements, and you die.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just talking about how play is sometimes a scary word in the corporate space. People might think it's unproductive and it's just fun. We can't discount being fun, but play is another word for experimentation, exploration, adaptability, creativity, curiosity, or innovation. And these are all words that we use in the business space. And those are the things we should probably start using when we see kids play, because they're doing the same thing when they're creating that sandcastle in the sandbox, when they're playing tag. If I'm a Gen Xer. I'm going back to all the games we used to play when we were younger, and making things up and making up scenes. And there wasn't an expectation. So that's the other thing. Play doesn't have these massive expectations to perform. And once you go in there and just try and just be and have fun and adapt and create, it lowers the bars, it lowers the stakes. So that's the other thing that play and applied improv does. It lowers the stakes of things that feel risky to make them feel less risky.
Thank you. That's really powerful. And what came to my mind as you were sharing was Google, and knowing this was one of their main motives was to reinstate play with engineers. The colors, the Lego colors, like the slides and the balls that you play in, the candy, like everything was to really help people learn in a I would say, my words, threatening environment. And it's fun. It's more fun. So to me, that goes kind of hand in hand. And then that kind of set up other companies to do that too. So it's becoming more safe, I think. But I hear you, and it is a lower risk. But I also think, it's like, to me, pausing, people think of that the same way. It's like, oh, you're not productive, you're slacker, lazy. And it's the same with play. Like, you're having, like, why aren't you working? It's not a binary thing, right? It's not like you can't have productivity and play. And I think that the brain just loves to have the black and white versions, and it's not the black and white versions, it's the Lego versions. It's like the ands and the yes ands, actually, isn't it?
Well, the opposite of play is not work. The opposite of play is depression. And I'll find out about that. That's a really important thinking. And I have a great example. I met this woman who's become a good friend of mine at a autonomous agents conference. She's a little introverted, and I've been riffing the benefits of improv. And she's like, oh, I can never do that. I'm too, to get on stage, it's scary. She decided to take an improv class, just the classes, not necessarily on stage. And she has found it therapeutic. She was saying how she had a very bad week, a very bad day. And then she went to improv class, and it all melted away. And she's also said that the techniques and the tools that she's used has made her be more confident when she's in meetings, when she's on stage, when she's speaking. So the little things, the micro little muscle stretchings of these games, of these activities, are very powerful.
That's so true. And I forgot about that. So I've done improv a bunch of times. I totally forgot to mention that. But I did it when I was in like grade school one time with a friend who was already doing that. And then I've done it here at Bay Area Improv. And Rebecca was one of my instructors, I believe. It wasn't great. I did like the first intro class for 6 weeks or something. And then I mentioned I did a few as like team building exercises. But I do resonate a lot with it as a tool for public speaking. It's just so much better, especially if you're feeling inclined to be like what your friend was saying. She's like, I don't feel comfortable. And it gets us out of our comfort zone because we have to throw the ball in the air and then catch it in the spontaneous way that someone, imaginarily threw to us. That's one of the exercises I remember.
Play and improv is that invisible net that catches you a little bit out of your comfort zone. It helps you be more comfortable in your comfort zone.
Comfortable in your comfort zone. Yeah, I love that. And
comfortable in your, wait, no, I said it wrong. It's uncomfortable in your comfortable in your uncomfortable zone. That's it. Comfortable in your
uncomfortable zone.
Yeah. It's that muscles that's stretching. Yeah.
Yeah. And my brother's taken improv. I remember he just took it for years and loved it because he was doing things he'd never done before. He's a very talented and accomplished engineer, but hey, he's not out there doing these funky things on the stage. And I think he did it a couple of years. So it's like, there's so much benefit to it. So, knowing all of that, what would you want to leave us with, Julie, in terms of, what could we think about knowing maybe improv is a tool or how I could use play more in our lives?
Yeah. If you can find an improv class in the city near you, highly recommend doing that. I always loved in the classes, there was either a salesperson or an engineer that wanted to get across or get rid of their perfectionism or, get out of their comfort zone. This is a great tool for that. To practice a yes and. So 2 things from this game that we played here. Practice yes anding your kids, your partner, someone at work, and see how that goes. When you're ready to say, yeah, but change it to yes and. I've actually changed my email writings. Instead of putting but in there, I always try to add and, because nobody listens to whatever you said before the but. Yeah. So try and add the and.
Yeah, it's super true.
Yeah, so practice those. And also the little pause that we did, noticing and listening and feeling and smelling and tap into all of your senses.
I think you want to do that, right?
And trust the team. Trust the team to color outside the lines. Trust the team to try new things. That kinesthetic part of it. So that's the other part of trusting you.
That's so great. Okay, and where can we find out more about you, Julie? What would you want to share, or how do we get in touch if we're interested?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Julie Trell, Trell, and playfulpurpose.com.
Is there anything else you want to mention that we didn't touch on?
I'm just excited to see you and get to have this conversation and play, and giving me the permission to play and tap into your big audience to play.
Thanks for the great reminder that we need play all the time, and to make space for it, to pause, to create that space of intentional behavior shifts, and to have more play, because who doesn't want more play? And it's a skill. Some people, I know many folks in my own personal development who really struggled with play, like it was beaten out of you literally or just figuratively, and you got to relearn it, because all of us know how to do that as kids, but as adults it's like we get conditioned out of it. So go have some fun, play today, do something for you. And thank you, Julie, so much for joining us.
We can say play to pause and pause to play.
Hey, play. Yes. And we can really enjoy that and savor both of those things, because they do go together.
Yes.
Play to pause, pause
and
to
pause
play.
To play.
Love it.
It's yours. It's ours.